Hello, everybody! Welcome to a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive. I have a huge episode scheduled for today. It was given as a request, and I decided to take it on. And yeah, it's a lot, but I knew it would be a lot because this is an awesome character, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Let me get my normal disclaimers out, and we'll get into it. Alright, so the information is pulled from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. Also, if you guys have any questions, comments, critiques, please feel free to reach out to me. I love it. If you have requests for other heroes, if you have fun facts you'd like to share, I love interacting with people. You can email me directly if you'd like it. B4 it all, so B4 it all at yahoo.com. If you have Instagram or Twitter, you can reach out to me. You can catch me on those and under Super Deep Dive. I do post superhero memes a couple times a week, so check it out. Like, subscribe with that. Follow me. I don't know. Send me a DM. Whatever. You can catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. And I love interacting with fans on there. Comment, like, subscribe, share, help me grow the channel. If I can get up to 500 subscribers, I will do a giveaway. Which will be a lot of fun. And yeah, if it's a Tuesday or Thursday, you can listen to my show throughout the day on Outworld Fleet Radio, and that is www.un-conventional.com/radio. Okay, so now that is taken care of, I am going to be talking about Magik, Ilyana Rasputina, which I always thought was just Ilyana Rasputin. Rasputina may actually be the Russian pronunciation. I don't know, but that's what it says. So, Ilyana Rasputin, born Ilyana Nikolaevna Rasputina, was born in the Ust-Ordinsky collective farm near Lake Baikal, Siberia, Russian SFSR, Soviet Union. Wow, that's a long address. To Nikolai Rasputin and his wife Alexandra Natalia Rasputina. Ilyana's two older brothers, Mikhail Nikolaevich Rasputin and Colossus Peter Nikolaevich Rasputin, are also mutants. Colossus's superhuman powers actually manifested while saving Ilyana from a runaway tractor. At 6 years old, Ilyana is abducted and brought to the United States by Arcade, who uses her and several other hostages to coerce the X-Men into opposing Dr. Doom. She is rescued and brought back to the X-Mansion. Shortly thereafter, Ilyana is called to the Limbo Dimension by Belasco, who seeks to bring forth the Elder Gods to rule Earth. She's raised there, frequently bullied and tormented by Belasco's underling Sim. In order to free himself, Belasco needs to fill the Beatrix medallion with 5 bloodstones. The bloodstones are created by corrupting Ilyana's soul, and with the new stone appearing as her corruption deepens. She is rescued and tutored in the practice of white magic by that dimension's version of Storm, who turned to magic when her mutant powers waned. And finding the use of magic abhorrent, Limbo's version of Shadowcat, known as Cat, kidnaps and trains Ilyana in hand-to-hand and sword combat. Cat, along with Ilyana, storms Belasco's citadel. They are overwhelmed by Belasco, who further transforms Cat into a feline demonic creature. With Ilyana back under his control, Belasco instructs her in the art of black magic as well, in the hopes that it will further corrupt her soul. However, Ilyana plots Belasco's defeat and continues to resist the dark influence on her soul, and forms a magical bond between both Storm and Cat, who are also tutored by Belasco. Belasco succeeds in creating 3 out of the 5 parts of Ilyana's Bloodstone pendant. Ilyana creates the Soul Sword and takes over Limbo as its new ruler. While wielding the soul sword, she manifests horns, a tail, and fangs. She banishes Belasco from Limbo and claims Sim as her servant. She then returns to Earth a decade older, although no time has passed on Earth since her kidnapping. She subsequently joins the New Mutants at that point. So that's a lot. Like, this girl was dragged into pretty much like the equivalent of hell and had to survive. And she did. Like, that's the weird thing. She did. Like, whenever I think of her during this time frame, I think of the opening scene to the Japanese movie Battle Royale. If you haven't seen it, you should, because it's a classic and it's amazing. But, you know, where the little girl comes out of the competition and she's covered in blood and stuff, and then she just smiles for the camera. That's what I'm seeing here. Alright, but Magik misguides one of her teleportation discs through the space-time continuum and strands herself and Mirage in ancient Egypt. There, Ileana meets Storm's ancestor Ashake, an Egyptian priestess. Together, they defeat the sorcerer Hekanut. I don't know. Hekanut. It's the newest tool. It's great. I am not sponsored by Snap-on. But Hekanut sought an ancient mystical sword called the Sword of Bone, using Magik's soul sword. Ashake helps Ileana and Mirage return to the present, with Mirage's memory of the incident erased in the process. A strange armor appears on her body each time she wields a soul sword, and the armor appears only on one of her shoulders and arms at first, but appears on more of her body each time she wields a sword. Ileana's skill as a sorceress grows, and she battles other beings with mystical powers, such as Baba Yaga, the Enchantress, Forge, Spiral, and Hekanut. A routine trip through Limbo goes awry, leaving the New Mutants stuck in Limbo. I like how they say a routine trip, like that's not a routine. Like, let's go to hell this week. You know, it's what we gotta do. We gotta do it once a month. To open an escape route for her teammates, Ileana embraces her demonic nature and opens a colossal teleportation disc between Earth and Limbo, which Nassereth holds open, triggering an invasion of Earth by demons from Limbo. Ashamed of herself, she flees into Limbo and decides to end the demonic invasion by assuming rule of Limbo. However, her teammate Renee Sinclair persuades her against this, and she instead gives up her demonic powers by creating a massive stepping disc that banishes the demons back to Limbo, then throws her soul sword in after them to seal the portal shut. Afterwards, the New Mutants find a 7-year-old Ileana inside the husk of her eldritch armor, and she still possesses the Bloodstone Locket. Because of the mystic bond she shares with the Shadowcat from the Limbo dimension, the soul sword passes on to Earth's Shadowcat in England. It embeds itself in a stone near Excalibur's lighthouse headquarters, because that's what happens in England. Like, I dare you to walk down the street in England without finding a sword sticking out of some kind of stone. Like, I dare you. And then let me know in the comments, because it happens. I don't think it happens, but it'd be fun if it did. Alright, but waiting for Shadowcat to claim it and become its new wielder. After a conflict with the Necromancer Gravemoss, the Soul Sword is acquired by Amanda Sefton, who would claim Ileana's mantle as Magik, ruler of Limbo and wielder of the Soul Sword. Ileana returns to Russia, where she lives with her parents for some months until they are murdered by the Russian government in order to secure Ileana's abilities to defeat a psionic being known as the Soul Skinner. That's a crazy name, but okay. Ileana then returns to the X-Mansion to live with her brother and the other X-Men. Not long afterwards, Ileana contracts the Legacy virus and dies in the X-Mansion, despite all efforts to save her by Charles Xavier and Moira McTaggart. Ileana's spirit returns to Colossus, who had recently returned to the United States with Shadowcat and Nightcrawler following the disbanding of Excalibur. When investigating odd occurrences inside the mansion, Colossus locates one of the stepping discs that Ileana had magically bound to the school. he is transported to a pocket world which holds a memory imprint of Ileana. Her memory convinces him to make one final sacrifice, and when the cure for the legacy virus turned out to need the death of one mutant, he secretly gave his life so nobody else would have to die like Ileana did. Colossus is later resurrected by an alien race. Now, Belasco eventually disposes of Amanda Sefton, and after seeing Ileana reappear during the 2005 House of M and realizing he carries a torch for her, creates a powerful spell to return her to him. The spell puts forth the remaining essence of Ileana still held within Limbo's dimension, taking shape as the Dark Child, a semi-demonic version of Ileana corrupted and transformed by dark magic. Belasco is not satisfied with this creation, claiming that it is not the true Ileana Rasputin due to her lack of Ileana's soul, and banishes her to the outer parts of Limbo. Now, it should be noted that this Dark Child is not the same Dark Child that I covered in a previous superhero deep dive. Even though, if you would look at the pictures, they're both blonde, kind of teenage themed characters, so they could be. But it'd be funny is what if Ileana was the other Dark Child in the other universe? Like when she went over, it just was, I think, Top Cow Publishing, so she was in the Top Cow universe. That would be kind of funny and pointless, but it'd be funny. All right. Let's see here. Ileana, now with her Dark Child persona, discovers some of the teenage new X-Men being attacked by a horde of demons. After aiding the mutants against the demons, she uses a spell to immobilize them and steal a portion of Pixie's soul in the hopes of creating both a Bloodstone and a new Soul Sword. As Ileana felt Pixie had the most innocent of souls present, Anole breaks free from Ileana's confinement and dispatches her. Pixie's soul extraction is partially successful, however, creating one part of a Bloodstone pendant and a soul dagger. Ileana attempts to complete the process and destroy those who wish to interfere, but Rockslide thwarts her and causes Ileana's human memories of her friends and life along the X-Men to return to her. That's kind of crazy. Although only part of Pixie's soul was taken, Pixie is now capable of performing magic, the hole in her soul having been filled with black magic. Since Belasco had sealed his castle from her own magic and powers, Ileana teaches Pixie the teleportation spell with which the new X-Men attack and defeat Belasco. Ileana succumbs to her Dark Child persona and announces her desire to create several more Bloodstones in order to become godlike in power. She is interrupted by the arrival of Colossus, investigating Ileana's apparent return to life. A pained Ileana rejects her brother's offers to help and sends everyone back to Earth after reclaiming Limbo's throne and informing Sin and Nasrith, now once more her servants, that her next move is to reclaim her soul. Motivated by her friendship with Shadowcat and love for Colossus, Ileana tries to reclaim her soul through love and teleports to the Xavier Institute only to find it destroyed and abandoned. While in Limbo, Ileana attacks various demons in her search for the Bloodstone amulet. Her activities are noticed by Mephisto, Blackheart, Satanish, Dormammu, and Hela, Belasco's daughter. So this is like the heavy hitters in the demon world. Witchfire appears during the meeting and reveals that she is the current owner of Ileana's Bloodstone amulet and vows to take her father's place as ruler of Limbo. Back at the X-Men base in San Francisco, Pixie accidentally discovers Magik's Soul Sword is hidden inside Nightcrawler. Sensing its presence, Ileana teleports in and reclaims her sword, transforming from the Dark Child into her magic persona. She strikes Colossus when he enters the danger room and calls out to her, realizing that something is wrong when she does not feel any emotions. She then returns to Limbo. Witchfire has conquered Limbo and magic armies during her absence. Claiming everything that Belasco ever owned, Witchfire captures Magik, takes her Bloodstone, and adds to the amulet. So there's a lot going on here. Like this poor girl. It's like her life is just consumed with constant warfare and battle, but not like normal battle, like demonic battle. This is insanity. Let's see here. When the X-Men arrive to the castle, Nightcrawler finds Illyana chained to a pillar, and at her direction, he stabs her with Pixie's soul dagger, re-releasing the soul sword inside of her. Witchfire completes the set of bloodstones via another portion of Pixie's soul and releases the Elder Gods. Illyana and the other mutants hold back Witchfire and the Elder Gods using a combination of magic and the powers of the soul sword and soul dagger. Illyana and Pixie remove one of Pixie's bloodstones, and the Elder Gods are swept back to their dimension along with Witchfire and the remaining bloodstones. Wow. Pixie's soul dagger merges with the bloodstone that was pried loose by Illyana, and saddened by the loss of her and Pixie's remaining bloodstones, Illyana teleports the mutants back to the X-Base as they convince her to stay with them. However, the younger mutants are still very distrustful of her. Illyana seems to have undergone a personality change since her return from the future, becoming more detached emotionally and in most cases possibly due to the further loss of most of her soul. And I would imagine that losing your soul, or even the majority of it, would do that. That would probably emotionally distance you from other people. Let's see here. Later, Cyclops sends Illyana to team up with X-Force to locate Wolverine and teleport them to Alcatraz to rescue any mutants taken prisoner by Norman Osborn's forces. Along with Pixie, they teleport all the X-Men from San Francisco to their new home, Utopia. So, when Hope Summers and Cable return to the present during the 2010 X-Men Second Coming storyline, Bastion begins eliminating all mutant teleporters to trap the mutant population on Utopia. That's kind of a smart move. I mean, on Bastion's part, like if I'm playing like Raid Shadow Legends or something, I tend to try to go for the healers or the resurrectors first, because if I can get them knocked out, then I can focus on the heavier hitters and wear them down, as opposed to wearing down the heavy hitters, getting them killed, and just to have them resurrected or healed later. So it makes sense. You kind of cut the supply chain. Alright. Let's see here. While trying to bring Hope and Cable to Utopia, Illyana is fired upon by one of the Purifiers with a supernatural weapon that opens a portal to Limbo and that she cannot control. She is drawn into the portal by a cluster of demonic tentacles, and eventually freed from her restraints by Pixie and Illyana, and rescue her team to return to Earth. Oh, and her rescue team returned to Earth with her. I'm sorry. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of history here. I've got a little bit more. Alright, in a reversal of fortune, Pixie is kidnapped by Project Purgatory, and Magik returns to Limbo with the New Mutants in order to rescue her. Let's see, I love this. While in Limbo, the New Mutants encounter the Inferno Babies, mutants who were taken as infants by the government and raised and trained in Limbo. The now adult team of Inferno Babies attacks and overwhelms the New Mutants. While the rest of the team is captured, Magik escapes to Earth with Karma and Pixie, and after hiding the Soul Sword inside Karma, Magik teleports the rest of the X-Men to Portal Epsilon, Project Purgatory's gateway to Limbo, for what the X-Men believe to be a rescue mission. They arrive just as Limbo's Elder Gods breach the gateway to Earth, and Karma releases Legion's mind with the Soul Sword, freeing him to use his powers to destroy the Elder Gods and return the Bloodstones belonging to Magik and Pixie, thus restoring their souls. Confronted by Cyclops afterwards, Magik admits to putting the world in danger and manipulating the X-Men for the sake of the personal vendetta against the Elder Gods. Cyclops decides that she must be restrained, and while she remains unrepentant, she accepts this decision. Magik is placed in the X-Brig 2, a newly constructed ultra-high security prison, 500 feet below sea level, and it is controlled by devices that detect and prevent the use of teleportation and magic. During a visit, Magik accepts the blame for her incarceration when Colossus tries to comfort her. Magik is temporarily, I can't say that, released by Colossus and Kitty in order to help her in defeating, or help them defeat Juggernaut. So, like, she just doesn't care. And you know, I used to have a college roommate that didn't care. Like, and I was talking about it this week because we were talking about like college roommates and how we may or may not have been like compatible with roommates. And he wasn't a roommate; he was kind of like a suite mate. But he was one of those guys that he was so nonchalant, he just didn't care about anything. And we would be like, hey, you know, maybe you should clean up like your stuff from the bathroom. And he's like, but you guys can do it, or just move it over to the side. I don't care. And we're like, no, you know, just, we don't want to mess with your stuff. And he goes, no, you don't understand. I just don't care. Like he didn't care in the least bit. And that's how she was. She's like, you know, you guys do what you need to do. I don't care. So, following the events of Schism, Magik is selected to be a member of Cyclops' extinction team. Despite the status, she remains a prisoner and is only released from the X-Bricks for mission, and while in the field, her suit contains lethal fail-safes to prevent her escape. So, it's almost like she's her own Suicide Squad, right? Alright, now Illyana is chosen as one of the Phoenix Five, a group of X-Men granted additional powers by the Phoenix Force. After Miss Marvel is defeated by Rogue, Magik appears and gags the Avenger before teleporting her into Limbo, trapping her and terrifying Rogue. Following the defeat of Cyclops, Magik and the other former members of the Phoenix Five are reported to have fled. Magik joins Cyclops' team of X-Men at the new Xavier School and at the old Weapon X facility. The Phoenix apparently has damaged Magik powers, like it apparently did to the other five. Illyana initially thinks her ability to channel increased energies from Limbo is a power upgrade, but Dormammu pulls her into Limbo and demonstrates that her newfound ability to effortlessly summon Limbo energies is destroying Limbo. Dormammu later pulls the entire Uncanny team into Limbo, intending to kill them in front of Magik before he kills her. They fight back and Illyana absorbs all of Limbo's mystic energy, causing it and its creatures to disappear. She sends the X-Men back to Earth and travels back through time to become the protege of a past version of Doctor Strange, explaining that she needs a greater understanding of magic so as to better control her mutant powers. So that's a lot to deal with. That's insanity, but it's awesome. We're almost done with this. It is eventually discovered that Magik, along with Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magneto, and Colossus, are actually infected with nano-sentinels by Dark Beast. After the incident with the Phoenix Force, and that was the real cause for her broken powers and sudden upgrade. She has since regained total control over her powers and was able to recreate Limbo as a result. She later helps Doctor Strange defeat Empirical, a science cult focused on destroying magic in every dimension, and she is employed by Karma to lead the new Mutants team, as opposed to the old New Mutants team, along with Wolfsbane, Richter, Strong Guy, Prodigy, and Boom Boom. So, wow, what a history. What a history. Like, it's insane. It's insane. This girl has been through everything. But let's get into her powers. She's got powers of teleportation. She's got the mutant ability to teleport herself and others through time and space from one location to another. She initially did this by summoning what she calls stepping discs, which were part of a dimension known as Limbo. They identified Magik's powers with science fiction author Larry Niven's stepping disc, a concept that first appeared in his 1970 novel Ringworld. Now, when Illyana called for a stepping disc, she had to use Limbo as a midway point before she could teleport to an alternate dimension. It's kind of like how Nightcrawler teleports. He actually goes into the Dark Force dimension and then comes out somewhere else. So, you know, it's kind of cool. Magik has succeeded in teleporting herself across continents, from one continent to another, and even interplanetary and intergalactic distances on occasion. Unlike most teleporters in the Marvel Universe, Magik can teleport through time and space as well. She has teleported moments, days, or centuries into the past or future. Especially early on, she had difficulty modulating this ability and would often inadvertently travel through time and space when intending to go only through space. The greater the distance over which she teleported, the greater the possible margin in errors in terms of her arriving at the point of time she intended. After Ileana absorbed all of Limbo, the stepping disc ceased to exist, and now when Ileana teleports, hellish images of ghosts, dragons, or other supernatural creatures appear. That's kind of nuts. That's messed up. Sorcery. Magik is the sorceress supreme of her Limbo dimension. In Limbo, Magik is able to cast any magic spell that Belasco could, having had access to a store of sorceress knowledge. Her sorcery is a unique mix of black magic that she learned from Belasco and white magic she was taught by an alternate reality version of Aurora Monroe or Storm. On Earth, her magic was limited to astral projection, sensing mystical presences, scrying, which I don't really know what that is, and casting very simple spells. In Ex Infernus, she uses the magic of a seemingly greater strength when she could previously use than what she could use in Earth's dimension. And since absorbing Limbo and becoming Doctor Strange's disciple, Ileana's magic on Earth has been considerably stronger, such as when she used spells she learned from Doctor Strange to destroy advanced sentinels. She also has an Eldritch Armor, which the more magic uses her magical power, the more mystical armor appears on her body, in addition to demonic features such as horn and hooves. The armor deflects or limits attacks, both physical and magical. Ileana's armor also provides protection from the transmode virus, and the armor provides Ileana with super strength, which she displayed by being able to toss a giant demon sim off of her over several feet distance. She's also got a soul sword, and the soul sword was created by Ileana Rasputin during her imprisonment in Limbo. Ileana magically caused her own life force energy to manifest before her, and once this happened, she cast her hand into a pool of eldritch energy and imagined a weapon in her mind. When she withdrew her hand, she was holding a soul sword created from her own soul. A simple-looking blade upon its origin, it develops intricate designs and forms upon itself the more Ileana uses it, becoming more powerful with each use. Magic Soul Sword disrupts magical energies, constructs, and creatures. It also augments the power level of any magic user who holds it. The Soul Sword generally has no physical effect, but disrupts even the most powerful magic as it passes through. Since Ileana's resurrection, the Soul Sword seems to affect psychic beings like Legion's personalities, whereas in the past, the sword only affected magical creatures. And spells, of course. But the only exception with this was Kitty Pryde, who can still be cut by the Soul Sword even when Pryde is using her phasing power to become intangible. That's pretty awesome. Ileana can make her Soul Sword appear and vanish at will, and after Avengers vs. X-Men, Ileana has used her Soul Sword against physical beings, including a Sentinel. Ileana also has formidable psionic shields, which block anyone from reading her mind, even such powerful telepaths as Professor X, the Shadow King, and Rachel Summers. Since her revival, Ileana has been able to lower her psionic shields. So that's pretty awesome too. Now, due to Belasco creating the magical bloodstones with their souls, Ileana has a psychic bond with X-Men Kitty Pryde, and because of this, a similar connection could be considered between Ileana and Storm. Wow. Like, I'm just blown away by how much this character has been developed, because they have just gone way, way, way above and beyond. Like, way above and beyond. Some of the stuff is just not as necessary. But what do you guys think? Like, this is a great power set, right? They turned her, from a sorceress to basically an empress of hell. I mean, It's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. Some fun facts. Alright, Ileana Rasputin made cameo appearances in the X-Men animated television series. In the episode Red Dawn, she remained by as Colossus and X-Men fight Omega Red. Ileana was also seen in the episode Time Fugitives in one of Cable's altered time visions among the many mutants who experience harmful mutations, which would eventually kill them, as they are without the antibodies developed to fight Apocalypse's techno-organic virus. At Comic-Con 2009, Magik was one of several character design sketches shown for Wolverine and the X-Men. Anya Taylor-Joy portrays Ileana Rasputin, or Magik, in the New Mutants movie, which is weird. It's kind of like horror themed, and it's not part of the MCU. It's not bad. It's not bad though, and Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, does a really good job. Ileana Rasputin also appears as a non-playable character in the video game X-Men Legends. She's an unlockable character in the game Marvel Avengers Alliance that was on like Facebook. At the time, Magik appears as a playable character, NPC, and team-up in the MMO Marvel Heroes. And she plays as a playable character in Marvel Contest of Champions, Marvel Future Fight, Marvel Puzzle Quest, and she will be a playable character in the upcoming Marvel's Midnight Suns game. Which, if you have a chance, look that up on YouTube. It's awesome. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know your comments. Like, she's insanely overpowered. But at the same time, it all seems to have been developed in a good way. You know, like, she wasn't just given all these powers. She had to fight and battle her whole entire life. So, I personally love the character. Let me know. If you have Twitter or Instagram, reach out to me as superdeepdive. You can comment on any of the memes I post, or you can send me a DM, whatever you like. I always use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. And, you know, if you're watching on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, share. Please help me grow the channel. I am asking you politely. You know, if I can get up to 500 subscribers, at 500, I will do a giveaway, and it'll be great. Also, yeah, I think that's about it for that. Now we're gonna get to the power expansion. This is part where I kind of expand on the character. Do they need a comic series? Would it be good to have an animated series, a live action series, a movie? If so, what could we do with this? How could we play this character? Who would play this character? You know, all that kind of stuff. You know, so I'm looking at Ileana, I'm looking at Magik, and I wasn't a huge fan of the New Mutants movie. But I will say that Anya Taylor-Joy was great in her role. I mean, and the movie was okay. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't bad. I just wasn't a big fan. It was hard to follow at some points. But I think Anya Taylor-Joy did great. I think she needs her own spin-off movie, with a similar horror feel, because that's where she lives. Like, her whole life is like a horror story. And so I want to keep Anya Taylor-Joy, but this was my idea. Like, at the end of the movie, all the kids kind of leave, and they kind of go to their they all go their own ways, basically. So she goes her own way. In her travels, she decides she needs to conquer that mini dimension, that limbo that she has, and start to master her abilities to their fullest extent. And then at the end, you know, she can join the other New Mutants. Like, maybe their story brings them back together as a group, so it becomes kind of like fate brought us together. You know, I mean, they could reunite somehow, even if it's just to prevent future things. If it's just to help her in the dimension. Like maybe there's something that they can do. You know, like there's just so much that they can work with. But yeah, I think it would, you know, they could join the other New Mutants, and it could totally help expand the franchise that they have. But you know what'd be awesome as well? Like at the end credits, let's have her find their universe's version of Doctor Strange. Because we know that there are multiple Doctor Stranges now, right? Like across the multiverse. That way, even though it's later in time, it still can connect with the Multiverse of Madness, and therefore gets to be an extended part of MCU, which I think for any Marvel property, that should be the ultimate goal. Is to have them have a place in the MCU. Because I mean, let's get realistic. Like I love the superhero movies, but that boat is gonna sail at some point. You know, that ship is gonna sail. It's always gonna have its dedicated fan base. You know, that's not going away. But you are gonna see where, you know, the audiences are gonna start dying down. They're just gonna get tired of superhero movies. The casual fan. You know, the ones that don't read the comics, the one that don't know the characters. And there's nothing wrong with that. If any of you guys are listening, there's nothing wrong with that. Because, you know, we see it. We see Westerns fade out. Because they just started getting tired of it. Then you have your group of people that love Westerns. And you see it all over. Every genre has it. And it's going to happen. I mean, we have to just face the facts. It's going to happen with superhero movies. But the ultimate goal should be to expand it to where, you know, you can keep that flame going, even if it's small. And ultimately, you know, if it comes back, if the boom comes back, if something happens and, you know, these people come into it, it's there and it's ready and there's lots of stuff that they can get into. But what do you guys think? Let me know. I would love to hear your opinions on this. So follow me once again. I'm on Twitter and Instagram under superdeepdive. Email me at b4, so b4itall@yahoo.com. Catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. Once again, I am trying to get up to 500 subscribers. I keep hitting that like 130 something. And it looks like I'm getting new views, but at the same time, I could definitely use your subscription. I could definitely use your help because I want to send you guys a present. So let's do that. I'm going to head out for now. I will see you guys next time. I've got a really hard one coming up soon. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try and we're going to go from there. But everyone, be blessed, be happy, be safe, be smart. And if you're not smart, please, please, please don't get caught. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.